I was the devoted husband and good father to CEO Olivia for 30 years, but my devoted wife, at her deathbed, squeezed my hand and forced out one last sentence from her throat. Ethan, if there's a next life, please give the chance to save the bullied me at school to your brother Lucas. In this life, in the end, I knew what she wanted to say. Even with mutual respect and harmony, in the end, some regrets cannot be smoothed away. I choked out, okay. If I could do it again, I'd choose to leave, to grant you the longing you can't let go of. Forcing back the heat in my eyes, I opened them and found myself back in high school. Not far off came the crisp slap, filthy insults, and Olivia's stifled cry of pain. I looked in shock. Olivia, thin and pale, was clutching her school uniform tightly. Opposite her stood several notorious rich second-generation boys from the school, leering as they tried to tear off her clothes. In my previous life, I had been walking in the school's grove and accidentally witnessed this. I rushed over in fury and struggled with those boys, and they almost beat me to death. In the end, I paid the price of lying in the hospital for a month to preserve Olivia's chastity. I instinctively touched the scar under my ribs, the mark left by the rib they broke. The familiar scar reminded me that what happened in my past life was not a hallucination. I instinctively wanted to step forward, but Olivia's wistful sigh from her deathbed suddenly flashed through my mind. Lucas, Lucas, why does a new moon shine on everyone, but not me? My steps froze. That was the woman I had loved for decades. Yet all her life, she had been resentful toward Lucas. My chest tightened. I dialed the number and spoke hoarsely. Lucas, come to the little grove. I'll grant the request you made earlier. Lucas is my sworn brother and the nominal young master of the Johnson family. Years ago, we were switched at birth. When the truth came out, our parents, out of pity for him, took him in as their adopted son. Unlike me, who grew up in poverty, he was the school's famous playboy. Compared with my taciturn nature, his smooth talk and honeyed words won women's favor. In the previous life, Olivia couldn't stop thinking about him precisely because he was better at flattering and sweet-talking. A displeased little huff from the girl came through Lucas's background. I hung up the phone. Before long, Lucas arrived at the grove and, sure enough, saw Olivia being forced by the thugs. Seeing the man opposite was another entitled playboy with power and influence, Lucas clicked his tongue and turned to leave. Olivia saw him and cried out through her tears, "Please, please save me. If you save me, I'll agree to anything." Lucas saw her exquisitely beautiful, tear-streaked face and grew interested. Feigning concern, he said, "Brothers, don't go too far. It wouldn't be good if you ruin her." Those thugs, who were Lucas's usual like-minded cronies, grinned and pinched Olivia's chest before pushing her toward Lucas. Olivia thanked Lucas gratefully, but her expression showed some reluctance. Having lived with her day and night for decades, I could tell that many buttons had been torn off her clothes. She was barely covered and very disheveled, but proud and aloof, Olivia couldn't bring herself to ask for help. In my previous life, not only did I drive away the group of people who had ill intentions toward her, I also took off my own clothes to cover her, and then limped away, sparing her any embarrassment. Later, usually low-key as I was, I didn't hesitate to reveal my true identity and use the influence of the Johnson family's legitimate son to drive that group out of the school. I silently guarded Olivia behind the scenes so she could study in peace and no longer be harassed by others. But to Lucas, women were nothing more than playthings. He wouldn't spend so much thought on her, nor would he care about Olivia's pride. He smiled and wrapped Olivia in his coat, and thus took her back to school. With an entrance like that, it was inevitable they would get lewd teasing from others. Some even joked with Lucas, asking if he had taken Olivia out to have sex in the field. I looked at the embarrassed and disheveled Olivia, my chest aching dull and heavy. If this is what you want, then I respect your choice and hope you get your wish. A few months later, the university entrance exam results were released. Lucas proudly came to show off to me. The girl he had saved that day turned out to be the school's top student. "Ethan, the results came out today. Surely a real young master like you wouldn't fail the exam, right? He mocked me jokingly. Olivia's been first in our grade every time. She tutored me for months, giving me extra lessons. If you, the real young master, didn't beat me, the fake young master, that would be so embarrassing. I said lightly, you don't need to worry about that. Even if I fail the exam, the Johnson family won't pass over their position to an outsider like you. Lucas' face turned green with anger as he brought up Olivia to save face. Olivia is surely the top scorer this time. If I end up with a top scorer girlfriend, I won't lose face. I said in surprise, Lucas, didn't you see the school's honor roll? You can't get a top scorer girlfriend. Olivia didn't become the top scorer this time. Lucas's face darkened. He forced out, that must be the second best in the city, at least a top private university. That's way better than you. I shook the acceptance letter in my hand. It's not the city's second best, and it's not a top private university. Your genius girlfriend just happens to attend the same school as I do. He slammed the door in a rage. I looked at the acceptance letter from my top public university and said nothing. In my previous life, I protected Olivia with meticulous care. She only had to study. I also took care of her daily life. I even prepared every nutritious meal myself, so she wouldn't have to worry about campus bullying anymore. With those conditions, Olivia ultimately became the city's top scorer, was admitted to the finance department of a top private university, and after graduation, thanks to my full support, became a rising star in the business district. But even though I gave her my all, she still loved Lucas deeply. In this life, Lucas didn't dissuade those thugs. They still often caused trouble for Olivia, and Olivia's reputation was ruined because of Lucas. On top of poverty and having to tutor Lucas, Olivia was exhausted and only managed to get into a top public university, which happened to be the same school as mine. In my previous life, my grades were average. To be a little closer to Olivia, I lowered my scores to get into a community college near her school. Because my choice disappointed my parents, the family business was later handed over to Lucas, who knew how to handle things. I never expected that after letting go of love, my grades would actually improve. This time, I wasn't going to hand the family business over to someone else either. A few months later, I saw Olivia and Lucas again at the university. After graduation, Olivia approached Lucas, saying she wanted to repay him for saving her before and was willing to be his girlfriend. Lucas was admitted to an ordinary undergraduate college in Beijing and was said to often come to this school to look for Olivia. At the school gate, in full view of everyone, Lucas groped Olivia. Olivia's cool, beautiful eyes were full of helplessness as she quietly begged Lucas. Lucas, can we go somewhere no one is around in? Lucas completely ignored her resistance and groped her even more blatantly. Many men nearby cast lecherous glances at Olivia's sexy figure. Her eyes were red, and she looked extremely embarrassed. I gave a faint glance, then turned and walked toward the library. It was her own choice. Perhaps she found joy in it. As I turned and left, I didn't notice that Olivia's tearful eyes couldn't help but follow my back. For some reason, she always felt this person had once saved her from peril, was her savior. Olivia is a business prodigy. In her previous life, with the groundwork I laid for her, her path into the business world was smooth, but this life has been much tougher. Lucas is just a nominal fake young master. Comfortable in life, but without connections in business or politics, unable to offer her any real support. She had to attend social engagements for the sake of developing her career and was driven to drink until she suffered stomach bleeding several times. Yet despite the stumbles and setbacks, she still made a name for herself. The company she founded gradually gained some recognition and was called an industry rising star. But it still pales considerably compared to the commercial empire she built in her past life that rivaled the Taylor Group in the capital. After her company began to pick up, Lucas and Olivia got engaged. Lucas grew even more complacent, constantly talking at home about how he would inherit Johnson Group and how Olivia would devote herself entirely to the Johnson family. Her father, Richard Johnson, agreed to their marriage and privately approached me. As the true young master who will inherit the family business, My wife must be a well-bred, noble daughter who can help me. A strong, strong alliance. I had long accepted that my marriage would be an exchange of interests. It was a necessary price to pay to inherit the family business. So I nodded in agreement to the match my father arranged. My betrothed was the eldest daughter and heir of the Taylor family, Sophia. When I learned it was her, I was genuinely surprised. After all, even though the Johnson Group is a prestigious family, it still falls far short compared to Princess Sophia's Jing Circle household. Even for an arranged marriage, it should have been my family paying a visit. But Dad said it was the Taylor family who sought us out, and Sophia specifically named the young master, me, to marry. The door was suddenly flung open, revealing Lucas's sullen face. He roared in disbelief. Impossible. Ethan, that dull oaf, could never catch Miss Sophia's interest. I once met Sophia. She must be talking about me, right, Dad? Dad rubbed his temples, a vein bulging on his forehead. Lucas thought his sweet talk was infallible. He always believed that women only loved bad boys, but in business marriages, status mattered. He, a fake young master, matched with a newly risen noble like Olivia was already a jackpot, so Dad agreed to their marriage. Yet he was not satisfied. Dad, with a cold face, told him to leave, but from the venom in Lucas's eyes, I knew he wouldn't let it go easily. Sure enough, on the day of the engagement banquet, Lucas caused a scandal. He dressed up to the nines and tried to flirt with Sophia in private, only to have her splash a glass of red wine all over him. She looked at him icily. Get lost. Were you even? You dare speak ill of my husband. Say one more word, and I'll make you die without knowing how. The story that Lucas deliberately seduced his sister-in-law, but was publicly rejected, spread through high society, and his fiancée, Olivia, became a joke. I heard Olivia wanted to break the engagement, but Lucas brought up how he once saved her from campus bullying, and out of gratitude for that favor, they reluctantly kept the engagement. As for the person who caused the scandal, the powerful heiress of the Beijing Circle, Sophia, her ears flushed in front of me. I did act a bit impulsively. Husband, I just couldn't stand people belittling you in front of me. I chuckled softly and said, it's fine. We are married by arrangement anyway. There's no need to worry about these things. After marriage, I won't interfere in your life more than necessary. As long as we can appear together for important occasions, that's enough. After all, Miss Sophia's reputation is widespread. Under her management, Taylor Group has been flourishing. Someone like her would never willingly be controlled by others. Sophia didn't speak, but her eyes were red as she shed tears of grievance. Ethan, you big dummy. You promised you wouldn't forget me. I asked, puzzled. Have we met before? Sophia, angry, gave me a little punch and took a red string from her chest, close to her heart. When I was little, I accidentally got lost. You found me and took me back home. If it weren't for you, I probably would have been trafficked off to some mountain ravine long ago, and there would be no Sophia today. You even gave me a red string and said it would keep me safe. From that day on, I liked you. I waited so long to reach the legal age to marry, so I could finally become your wife. I picked up the red string that still held the warmth of her chest, and a warmth grew in my heart. No wonder in her past life, she was a princess of the Beijing Circle, yet remained unmarried all her life, claiming she was against marriage. It turns out it was all to wait for one person. I lifted her in a princess carry. Sophia bashfully buried her face in my chest. Seeing her adorably flushed cheeks, my heart filled with emotion. I thank heaven for a second chance. This time, I will not miss the person who truly loves me. Sophia and I spent our honeymoon in Bali. Beneath her cool exterior, only I could see her tenderness, and our days were sweet as honey. Lucas and Olivia also registered their marriage, but I heard it was a very unpleasant affair. The year-end holiday banquet hosted by Johnson Group was lavish, and they took the opportunity to announce a deep partnership between Taylor Group and Johnson Group. Friends and family from both sides would attend. I planned to attend the banquet holding Sophia's hand to prove the alliance between the two families was unbreakable, but an unexpected incident occurred. Lucas drugged the welcome drink he gave me. I didn't expect him to be so brazen. Out of jealousy, he was even willing to drag Johnson Group's reputation down with him. Not long after I drank that spiked wine, I felt a burning heat in my lower abdomen, and my mind began to cloud. I staggered, trying to make my way back to my room, but saw Lucas grinning viciously, waving the camera in his hand. My dear brother, don't blame your brother. If you hadn't stubbornly refused to give Johnson Group and Sophia to me, I wouldn't have had to use such despicable methods. He put on a false look of reluctance, but the upward curl of his lips betrayed the malice he couldn't hide. You tell me, if a proud woman like Sophia saw her fiancé in front of so many high society people publicly coupling with 10 prostitutes, what do you think? Would she still want you? From the room behind us came the giggling, flirtatious voices of the prostitutes. It felt as if several hands were on my chest. I did my utmost to push the hands away, but the drug was too strong. My limbs felt like they were filled with lead, and I couldn't even lift them. Lucas raised the camera, his face full of glee. This is a potent medicine that even chaste, loyal women cannot resist. Just enjoy it, Ethan. But Olivia's voice suddenly sounded. Stop! She tore Lucas's hand away angrily and stood in front of me. Lucas, try moving him and you'll see what happens. Lucas was furious, as if he couldn't believe Olivia would stand up for me, and he roared at her. You actually defied me for him? I'm the one who's your husband. Olivia kept a stiff face and refused to budge. Lucas glared at her for a long time, then, surprisingly deflated, led his people away. Olivia tried to comfort me by touching my face, but I grit my teeth and pulled away. She looked somewhat wistful and laid her hand over the old wound under my ribs. Don't be afraid. His expensive lifestyle is all supported by me. With me here, he wouldn't dare lay a hand on you. Ethan, I had a dream. In it, we were once so loving, growing old together. I miss that so much. She touched the scar, her eyes lighting up. This scar, it's the one where you once saved me, isn't it? That dream. I cut her off. The scorching heat inside me made my vision go dark, and I staggered to my feet. It was just a dream, sister-in-law. No need to take it to heart. Sorry, I have to leave first. When I called her sister-in-law, Olivia's expression changed. After a moment, she suddenly threw me onto the bed and reached to undo my clothes. Ethan, it's okay. We can start over. I'll help you take the antidote. I hurriedly reached out to push her away, but lacked the strength to do so. My heart fell numb, and a deep sense of despair engulfed me. If I wanted to look at my clothes, she had to take them off me. Noisy voices rose outside the door, and a cold, bone-deep voice, heavy with repressed fury, spoke. Ethan, it was Sophia. My eyes were rimmed in red from despair, my chest aching, and I forced every ounce of strength to sit up straight. After spending this time together, I had come to love her, and just when I was ready to be with her for life, she saw me being so intimate with another woman. Putting myself in her shoes, even I, on such an important day, having been cheated on and humiliated in public, would absolutely not be able to forgive it. Sophia acted decisively, immediately ordering the guests to leave and calmly shutting the door. Olivia deliberately put on a look of stirring desire in front of Sophia and coquettishly said, Sister-in-law, don't blame Ethan. After all, you're so cold and overbearing. Men will naturally go out looking for some fun, right? We're practically family too. Why let the good stuff go to outsiders? I knew she was deliberately trying to anger Sophia and make my affair seem real, so I hurriedly explained. It's not like that. Sophia, listen to me. Sophia raised her hand to cut me off. You don't need to say anything. I felt as if I'd fallen into an ice pit. My whole body chilled. She didn't even want to hear my explanation, but the sentence she said next took me from hell back to heaven. I believe you, husband. Sophia harshly yanked Olivia up and said coldly, Get out now. Seeing she hadn't succeeded in driving a wedge between us, Olivia looked at me unwillingly. Ethan, have you forgotten the happiness we had before? That dream must have been real, right? You used to have dinner ready for me every day when I came home from work, and whenever I was tired, you would give me a massage. You promised you'd love me forever. A black aura swirled around Sophia. The terrifying presence of a Beijing socialite revealed itself fully before me for the first time. Sister-in-law, that was just a dream. The person by Ethan's side now is me, and it will only ever be me. If you don't get out of here now while I'm in a good mood, I'll make you understand why people call me the Jade-Faced King of Hell. The marketplace is a battlefield. Sophia has cut down countless rivals here, earning the respectful title of Jade-Faced Yama. Thinking of Sophia's fearsome reputation, Olivia shivered, left in a huff, and cast one last reluctant, resentful glance at me as she went. I wanted to explain to Sophia, but she gently pressed my lips and held me tenderly. Honey, I trust you. No need to say anything. Her kiss was very sweet, melting the stubborn snow piled in my heart. I thought of my past life because Olivia was jealous and forbade me from interacting with anyone, otherwise she would fly into a rage. My whole world was only her, and in the end I drifted away from friends and family. But Sophia wholeheartedly believed in me and loved me unconditionally. My spell was broken. That night's events were also sealed by Sophia and didn't leak out at all. Anyone who dared to tattle afterward never appeared in front of me again. I heard that Lucas and Olivia had a terrible fight. Because Olivia's company has been struggling lately and business dropped sharply, Lucas lashes out and mocks Olivia whenever she can't get money, and Olivia doesn't put up with him. Their quarrels are known to everyone and have even led to talk of divorce. But I didn't care about any of that. I gradually took over the Johnson Group's assets and began a life for two with Sophia. I explained the past life and the dreams to Sophia clearly. I do have the memories from before my rebirth, but I have completely let go of Olivia. Now, my heart belongs only to her. I thought she might be jealous or throw a tantrum, but Sophia stared at me for a long time, then bent down and kissed the old scar under my ribs. Does it hurt? It was clearly an old injury, but in that moment, it suddenly hurt so much my eyes filled with tears. I had thought I no longer cared, but when someone shows concern for an old wound, it can make you want to cry. A few months later, Sophia brought back a test result and, blushing, told me she was pregnant. In my past life, because Olivia was afraid of pain and I couldn't bear to let her suffer, we never had children. Sometimes I also envy families with both sons and daughters. How I wish we could have a complete family. When I heard the news, I picked her up in a joyful embrace, so excited I didn't know what to say, and finally I buried my face in Sophia's shoulder, choking out repeated thanks. Sophia chuckled. Dummy, what are you thanking me for? We're family, right? I nodded with tears in my eyes. Because she was pregnant, she temporarily handed most of the miscellaneous tasks over to the company's second-in-command, who was also her cousin. She only handled the most core decision-making herself. She voluntarily suggested that I take Taylor Group under my management. I thought about it, and, worried others would accuse her of being love-struck, declined her offer. But I would still pay close attention to Taylor Group's collaborations and help her stabilize the company's situation. I didn't expect to see Olivia again, and it was at the company. The secretary said a startup had come to pitch itself, looking for investment. The product itself was decent. I didn't ask many questions and told my assistant to let them in. Only when I met them did I realize it was Olivia. Olivia looked much more disheveled than the last time we met. The bluish bruising under her eyes was still noticeable even with makeup. Her complexion was pale, and her hair was hastily tied up, no longer the meticulously groomed Seo she used to be. Seeing it was her, I frowned and called for the secretary. In the future, for matters of this level, there's no need for me to meet in person. I don't have time to oversee every little thing. You handle it yourselves, and then report back to me. Olivia suddenly stood up, her eyes red, looking very aggrieved. Ethan, you clearly told me before that there are no small matters when it comes to me. Are you jealous of me and Lucas? I've already told him I want a divorce. Wait for me. Once the divorce waiting period is over, I'll marry you, okay? I know. You sought out Sophia just to make me jealous. I already know I was wrong. So please stop making a fuss, okay? I rubbed my temples impatiently. unable to understand how anyone in this world could be so full of self-importance, and I couldn't help but say coldly, "I'm with Sophia, not to make you jealous, but because I love her and she loves me. Sophia is already pregnant. We're very happy. Please stop indulging in fanciful feelings." Olivia's face went instantly pale, her lips trembling as tears the size of beans welled up in her eyes. "How could she be pregnant? It's impossible. Ethan, you lied to me, didn't you? Don't say things like that in anger, okay?" I lost my patience. "Enough. Miss Olivia, stop making a scene. I'll say it again. It was only a dream. Please don't bother us anymore. Security, please escort her out." Olivia still had a bit of pride. She stood up and left, but as she passed by me, she couldn't help reaching out to grab my sleeve. "Ethan, no, husband. I'm begging you. Could you really not give me one more chance? After decades together, I just can't let go. I promise, from now on I'll live only for you. You'll be the only one in my heart, okay?" A sourness rose in my chest. I closed my eyes, not for her, but for the person I once was. If it had been in a past life, the cool, indifferent President Olivia saying such soft things to me, willing to keep only me in her heart, I would have wished to give my life and live her for her. I could have died for her. But when I no longer needed her, she, on the contrary, became generous in giving. So it turned out she hadn't been unaware of what I wanted. She had always understood, only that before, she didn't want to give it. When I opened my eyes again, there was no longer any feeling left in them. Her humble appearance instead cut off the last strand of thought I had of her. "Miss Olivia, this is your own life. Your lingering feelings belong to you. You sought benevolence and obtained it. You should be happy." Olivia's expression went completely dark, and she walked out like a living corpse. I shook my head and continued working, thinking that tonight I should bring Sophia the little cake she likes. Sophia's belly had begun to show, swelling little by little like a blown balloon, carrying a small life inside. I treasured it so much I didn't know what to do with myself, cradling it in my hands for fear of damaging it, holding it in my mouth for fear it might melt. Whenever she moved, even a little, I would anxiously tell her to be careful. Sophia laughed and poked my nose, saying why was I being so delicate? The doctor said the due date was still 6 months away. No need to be so nervous. I agreed with my mouth, but a lingering unease never left my heart. I kept feeling like a pair of eyes was watching us from the shadows. One day, I went out to buy clothes for the unborn child, returning home full of joy to show Sophia, but she didn't come out to meet me with her usual smile. I searched the whole house and couldn't find any sign of Sophia. The little dress in my hand fell to the floor, like my heart plunging straight down. I forced myself to calm down and ordered people to check the nearby surveillance cameras. Sophia, a pregnant woman, couldn't have gone far, and she would never leave without telling anyone. Someone must be targeting her. The investigation results came back quickly. The footage showed Sophia walking at the doorway when a van suddenly sprang out from the shadows, snatched her into the vehicle, and sped away. My eyes burned with rage. Worry and anxiety twisted me up inside, and I nearly knocked the table in front of me over. The van was going very fast and had no license plate. Its movements were strange, as if someone who knew the routes around my house extremely well was deliberately choosing places without cameras. I don't know how many times I watched the few-second video, but I finally noticed something wrong. The moment the hand reached out of the van, light spilled into the dark interior, and in the corner a ring flashed on someone's hand. It looked vaguely familiar. After 30 years, I remember clearly that it was the ring I had given Olivia in my previous life. The style was ordinary. Only our initials were engraved on the outer band. I tracked down Olivia. In the cafe, she stirred her coffee. When she saw me approaching, her face lit up. Sure enough, she was wearing that ring, while the wedding band from Lucas had already been removed. But in this life, I never gave it to her. Seeing my gaze rest on the ring, her face brightened, a flush rising. I had someone custom make this. Don't you think it looks just like it? I said coldly. You know as well as I do, it's only a likeness. Some things, once lost, never come back. Where did you take Sophia? What exactly are you trying to do? Olivia pretended to be clueless at first, until I pointed out the decisive evidence. She then leaned back in the seat and said nonchalantly, "Then why don't you report me to the police?" How could I not want to? It's just that Sophia is in their hands, and I feared that involving the police would tip them off and alert them, which would be bad for Sophia. Anger crept onto my face. "Olivia, let the person go now, and I'll guarantee your life. We can negotiate. Don't resort to illegal methods." She smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. "Do you like her that much? Even more than you liked me in your past life? If you want to see her that badly, then come with me to a place. Alone. If you dare tell anyone else, I will take your Sophia away before I die. For Sophia, even if it's a den of dragons and tigers, I'll still venture in." Olivia and I arrived at a remote dock. This place was seldom visited, few people ever passed by, so it was no wonder the secret searchers hadn't found anything. The sea breeze brushed my face, carrying the scent of blood, and I grew increasingly uneasy. But Olivia hummed a tune, as if on a date with a lover, walking beside me in complete ease. When we reached a shipping container on the dock, she opened its door, and what came into view was a person shaped like a blood gourd. I was startled. I thought it was Sophia. Blood surged in my head, but on closer look it was Lucas. Lucas wasn't dead. He painfully lifted his head, saw Olivia, and forced a curse out of his throat. Olivia laughed and said to me, "Ethan, I know. You don't stay with me because there are people between us blocking it. I'll remove all those obstacles, okay? We'll be together forever, just like in the past life." I looked at her with a mix of emotions. She really had gone mad, but right now my greatest concern was still the pregnant Sophia. "What did you do to Sophia? I want to see her." Olivia gave a bitter smile and opened another container. Sophia lay on the bed, eyes tightly shut, and her body showed no signs of injury. But I still couldn't let go of my worry. My legs seemed to gain a will of their own, wanting to run toward her. Thinking of Olivia beside me, I forced myself to restrain them. Olivia clapped her hands, and several burly men came up, tied Sophia up, and hung her by the dock. Sophia's slender body swayed precariously in the wind. This stretch of sea was very deep. If she were dropped in while bound, there would be no place to bury her. The worry in my heart was about to overflow, and Olivia's voice sounded in my ear. "As long as you promise to be with me, I'll let her go. Otherwise, jump off here now, and I can let her go too. Be with me, or die, pick one." Without hesitation, I lifted my leg to walk toward the pier, but Olivia grabbed me. Her eyes were rimmed in red, her lower lip bitten until it bled. She hadn't expected that. Faced with being with her, I'd immediately choose to die instead. It hit her hard. She screamed in collapse. I've joined forces with the second-in-command of the Taylor Group. The Taylor Group is now under our control. Its assets have been applied for transfer, and Sophia will be bankrupt soon. No longer that golden, noble young miss. She's about to go bankrupt, and you're still going to be with her? I smiled. Do you think I'm with someone for their money? Whether in a past life or this one, ultimately, I only want a devoted, faithful love that belongs to me alone. Only Sophia can give me that. Don't say bankrupt. Even if she goes mad, becomes foolish, or is crippled, I'll still be with her. A voice breaking with sobs came from the dock. "Husband, I love you too, forever." I didn't know when, but Sophia woke up. The cold, proud princess of the capital was crying like a child now, choking out her words. As she spoke, many men in black suddenly burst out from the shadows and restrained Olivia and her people. I rushed forward, immediately set Sophia down, and held her tightly, as if she were a treasure regained. It turned out that this whole thing had been a scheme devised by Sophia, taking advantage of her pregnancy to round up everyone in the company with ill intentions, even willing to put herself at risk to set the trap. Olivia saw the situation was wrong, seized an opportunity to break through the encirclement, and jumped into the deep sea. She would rather die than be defeated. My feelings were complicated. I remember the day I rescued Olivia from campus bullying. She was terrified but forced herself to act calm and thanked me. She was so endearing, and I vowed to protect her for life. But all of that was past. I held Sophia tightly in my arms. She and the baby were the ones I truly had to protect from then on. Later, Lucas went mad, wandering the streets, every day muttering that he was the young master of the Johnson family, and that his wife was a big-name socialite in the capital. After that, it was said nobody ever saw him again. Those from Taylor Group who took part in this farce were punished by the law. With the troublemakers gone, the company prospered even more. Johnson Group and Taylor Group worked closely together. I took over Johnson Group, which grew into a behemoth on par with Taylor Group. The following year, Sophia gave birth to a boy. I named him Ethan Sophia. In this life and the next, I promise I will never be separated from you.